All right, I got Ben Simmons in the title. The Sixers have the best offense in the league currently, without Ben Simmons. That's not a joke or anything. They're number one in offensive rating. And I think the first thing to make note of is what happens around Embiid post-ups. There's no Ben Simmons in the dunker spot, obviously, but it's not just four shooters standing there either. You do still have at least one guy standing inside the three-point line. You've got Tyrese Maxey making his way to the corner. Him and Seth Curry potentially a little too close to each other. But still, it allows Embiid to go to work, and he's got some passing lanes. Now, there is still some dunker spot action going on. Embiid sets that screen, Bulls bring two to the ball, and you see here, Tyrese Maxey is under the rim. Very similar to what Ben Simmons did. And, having a guy in the dunker spot is not inherently bad. We'll just have to see if Simmons never comes back, if they just stick to that, or if it's no guy lingering around the paint in crunch time situations for Embiid. Now it's a similar thing here, where when Embiid sets the screen for Maxey, they've got Niang in the dunker spot there. And, it's not Ben Simmons, but there's still gravity when you've got someone there, right? And so what ends up happening, they're throwing two to Embiid, Levine's got to get out to Korkmaz, and he can't do that. The other thing is that the Sixers have had some guys shooting red hot from three, Korkmaz being one of them. And here's another crunch time play for you. Similar thing, guy in the dunker spot. What if later on in the season they choose to have this guy just back up into the corner? I'm not saying that's inherently the right thing. I'm just asking, what are they going to want to do? And I thought this was an interesting set where, if you notice Niang here, he's going to come up and set a screen for Maxey, and that's going to get the swing offense going, and that's going to eventually lead to Niang getting an open three. This right here is the closest we've ever seen the Sixers to a 5-out offense. And I mentioned Korkmaz, he's been nuts just in general. He's up to 43% on 5 threes a game. And he's had a few more non-assisted threes this year, as in plays like this where he shoots a pull-up off of a screen. They're also not falling off a cliff when Embiid sits, which is maybe the wildest thing that I'm going to say in this video. And you get a couple of good Maxey Drummond pick and rolls. The first one a Drummond lob, that one a Maxey layup. Let's take a look at Point Embiid, which is slowly taking over Sixers internet. He had 3 assists in this one, but he's had a few games where he's really gotten up there to 6 or 7 assists. There it's a handoff action with Korkmaz, pretty similar to what Embiid would run with JJ Redick, and he's already done this with Seth Curry a little bit. And here we've got another play where he's just making something happen at the elbow. Korkmaz screens for Curry. DeRozan's got to make a decision, and it's just Korkmaz on the move from the Embiid handoff. And then this is the one we saw earlier, where he pops off of the screen. They got to bring the extra attention, makes the play to Korkmaz, and there you go. Now let's go on to Nuggets Rockets. I have a question. Is Jokic the best player in the league? I don't know who is. There's a bunch of dudes going off early this season, but he's definitely in the convo. He's doing it while looking very nimble. Look at this. Look how much movement he just had on this play. Jokic, he wasn't going to do this 3 or 4 years ago. But now, with slim Jokic, he does that, and then he just dominates Daniel Tice in the post, because, Jokic does that to everybody. Jokic is also much more aggressive as a scorer. You remember a couple years ago, one regular season where it was yo, Jokic, you're not shooting the ball enough? Not a worry anymore. Now let's get one real crafty Jokic post-up. We got one half spin that way, goes the other way, then it's a bunch of up fakes and everything, and Daniel Tice just had no chance. He also had to throw in, go into the opposite hand, just for safe measure on the double team. You guys too good, man. Now let's check out the last play, which was chaos as the Nuggets escaped with a win. Jokic got the block there at the end. Alright, so we had Will Barton on Christian Wood, we had Eric Gordon with the handoff action. Nuggets collapsed like their lives depended on it, because it basically did. And after that, I don't know. This is the second time the Nuggets have just barely escaped like this. First one was against the T-Wolves. Now let's look at all of the shots that Westbrook made against the Blazers. And now for Suns-Hawks, let's appreciate a Chris Paul mid-range jumper. It's the best shot of all time, besides 25 other ones. And CP actually had 5 assists in the fourth as the Suns came back on the Hawks. This pass right here should not be this easy for a human being. He's got Shamet coming behind him. He just bounces it behind his back. It perfectly gets to him in stride. For this one, we've got a wide-open Devin Booker. And the reason for that was they had to stop the train that is Frank Kaminsky. And DeAndre Hunter's got to come down just so it's not a wide-open 2. which means he also has to run like hell to try to get Devin Booker on the three-point line. And for what it's worth, I mean, the closeout, given where he started, not bad, but, that's how it is playing the Suns. And this one was just tough, because it was a good contest, but, Devin Booker, that's just who he is. I do want to look at John Collins' performance from this game, because I feel like Collins has mastered playing within the Hawks' offensive system without being a hindrance to anybody else. And basically what I mean is he can set a screen and then improv whatever he's going to do from there, more so than them having to draw up specific plays for him. For example, like we've seen him just set a screen on the ball for the last couple plays. This one, he's setting a screen for Reddish, which could allow him to get something going to the rim, or they leave Collins open, he can just shoot the three. For this season, he's averaging 16 points on like 60% shooting. Like here's another one, right? Collins sets the screen, allows the offense to flow into an action for DeAndre Hunter, and then after that, he spots up in the corner, gets the ball back. In a way, he's like a super duper role player on offense. Now, while Collins got himself a good amount of shot attempts in this game, there have been a few games this year where he's only taken like 6 or 7 shots. So we'll just see how the Hawks manage this throughout the season, where he's setting the screens and allowing other guys to get things open up for them, and then he takes advantage of it when he can, versus them running more specific sets for him, I guess. The Lakers effectively acquired Westbrook instead of Lowry because they didn't want to give up Talen Horton-Tucker. Listen, man, we got to give Westbrook time to do his transformation mid-season and suddenly become one of the best players in the league again.